Hi guys, and welcome to our training latest on Rhinoceros 3D modeling software. First of all, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Yusuf, and I am an architect, and I'm here with Field Ready a Filmmaker Space. So, a small intro on the organization. Field Ready is a global organization dedicated to empowering people all around the world, to create and make the things they need. And Urban Makerspace is a place for you to learn, come up with new designs and new ideas. So that's a small intro to what we do. Our training would be on Rhinoceros 3D modeling software. We will have a playlist covering the interface, 2D commands, 3D commands, and so on. So let's start with the software. So as you can see, you have four main viewports to work with: perspective, top, front, and right. You can maximize each one of them by just double tapping on the name, or perspective you can double tap and it would be enlarged or maximized, and double tap it would go smaller, same as for any other viewport. Once a viewport is maximized, let's say you can zoom out a little bit, you can scroll through other viewports from down here: top, front, right, and so on. So another thing to cover is how you move around in the software. So if you want to orbit something, let's have a small object here. Let's say we have this box, and you want to orbit it. You would just right click and move your mouse, and you can scroll around. You can orbit it. If you want to ban, you will press shift and the right key again, and you can ban and move around. To zoom in and zoom out is just you will scroll the wheel on the mouse, and you will scroll in and out. Another thing is how you can change the viewport. Like now what I'm seeing is a wireframe. So this small arrow next to the viewport name, if I press on it, I will get bunch of things I can choose from. Let's say I choose shaded. Now I can see a shaded version of the object, so I can understand the geometry even better, and so on. I got rendered, and if I have any material on it, the material will show on rendered view. Ghosted, I can see through the object. X-ray, now I can fully see the other sides of the object. It wasn't just kind of a blurry view inside, it's now I can clearly see inside. Technical drawing, now you can see the lines I can see from this side are now dotted, and the lines I can see are hardened. And now the artistic view, okay, it's gonna take a little bit time to change to it, so I can get this type of view, a little bit artistic. So let's stay on shaded now. So now let's start with the 2D drawing commands, and I'm going to be working through the perspective viewport. Now when we draw anything in perspective, it's going to be drawn along the X and Y plane. It's not going to be drawn with the Z plane. So anything I will draw, it would just be 2D along the X and Y plane. So let's start things off. So the first thing is the point. So if I just click here and I get left click here, I will get a single point I can draw. If I want to draw multiple points, I would then right click Now I can draw multiple points, something like this, and I can just keep going. When I finish drawing, as you can see in the command bar and the command line here, it tells me press enter when done. So I can either press the enter button or the space. So the space bar will, in 99% of the cases, would work same as the enter button. So I just recommend that you hit the space bar. It's closer to your hand and makes your workflow much faster. So just space bar and it's done. There are other commands here, like if I have extract point. If I have a surface, I can extract points from. When we get to surfaces and we draw a surface, we'll see how we can do that. How can we get the points out of it? That would be something useful for someone that's working on a topographic map, and he needs the points from it, and he got 3D model, but he needs the point, so he can extract them from here. That would be the most used things and points. The other things to 2D is the lines. So I can either type in the command line just line, press spacebar, I can draw a line, or I can press here. And when I press here, I get, when the mouse is hovering over here, I'll get two options, polyline or line segment. So if I left click, it would be a polyline. So I can just keep drawing. If I right click, I get line segments. So I'm continue to drawing the same as before, but the difference. So this is the difference between them. So this is a polyline. If I select it, it selects the entire thing. So I get just one continuous line. But if I select this, I will get segments. I will not get the full line selected at once. It will be divided into segments. I would always recommend using the polyline, especially if you're going to do some 3D modeling after it. And here was the just line command. We typed it in the command bar. It would just draw one line. It would not continue drawing after it. Another type of lines is a line from midpoint, which means I will start from the midpoint of the line and then continue. So if I click here and I start in any direction I want, so it's drawing from both sides from that midpoint, and I can give a value to that line, let's say 20, enter, and I can select which side I want it. If I want it to be along the X or Y direction, I just press shift and I can. So another thing would be, another type of lines would be line through points. So let's say I have drawn these points. So the command line tells me select points or mesh to fit lines. So this is the first point, second point, third point, and fourth point. So as you can see, of course it didn't draw a line going through them, but it drew a line correlated to these points. So these are just the reference point, and it drew a line that would go somewhere between them all. Another important type of lines is the line or normal to surface. So this would be a line that is perpendicular to any surface. So let's say if we have a sphere here, just any sphere, and I select this type of lines. So the first thing after I selected the command, the first thing it would be select surface or belly surface for normal line. So I select this surface, then I can draw starting from any point that I want. Let's say this point, and I draw this much. So it's going perpendicular to the surface. Or norm to this surface. So moving on to the next part, which is curves. So let's just delete these. Let's see. In general, in Rhino, in some commands, you might get the word select curve. So just select curve is not just limited to these commands or the shapes you will draw from here. Lines, circles, ellipses, everything is 2D. That is, 2D is considered a curve when we are doing 3D modeling. So, but in here, in the curve commands, let's see what we got. So the first thing is control point curve, which means is I'm going to be drawing control points for the curve. I'm not going to be drawing the exact curve. So as you can see, I'm drawing a control point. The curve is not going on. And if I press space, it will just end the command. So as you can see, these were control points, but not they are not on the line on the curve we draw. The second option would be the interpolate points. It's the same thing, but instead of being control points, the points that I pick are actually on the curve. So this is similar to what we call an SP line on AutoCAD. So when I press spacebar, it's done. As you can see, I can control it way much more than I can control this one. Okay. Moving to the interpolate curve on surface. Again, let's say we have this surface and we want to draw on it. I will select the interpolate curve on surfaces. The first thing the command line would tell me is select surface to draw on. I want to draw on this surface, and I can just after that start drawing whatever shape that I want. And it's been drawn on the surface, as you can see. Okay, so the next thing we will be looking at is the spiral and the helix, which you can both draw in a kind of a similar way. So let's take the spiral. So on the spiral, you need an axis that the spiral is going along. So the first thing you will get in the command line is start of axis. So I want to start the axis start here, and I want it to be going, let's say, in this direction. Then what I would do is select the diameter or radius of the first the start circle. So let's select something like this, and then I can go and select I can make it end at a point, or select a different radius, the same radius, or anything that I want, and control a little bit the tilt of it so I can get different shapes. So I can also change the number of the turns from here. I can either go here and click on it, or just press the T space, and I can select, say I want like 5 turns. So it's changed, now I got only 5 turns, and so on. So I can just end the command here, and I got something like this. What if I want this spiral to be vertical? So let's delete it. Let's go and complete the command. So I can either go here and select it again, or just press the spacebar and it will automatically repeat the same command. So before I start the axis, I want to select vertical from here, or press V and spacebar on the keyboard. I select vertical, then now I'm now limited only to the Z direction. So I can draw it, and pretty much the rest is the same. I can select the first radius and the second radius. I can then later extrude it or do any commands in 3D that I want to do with this. Another interesting thing would be to look at is the twin between curve commands. So basically, if we have two different curves that are separated vertically or horizontally, I can get, let's say, different sections between them to move from the first one to the second one. So the most basic command would be a circle and a rectangle, let's say something like this, and I select this. So now we're gonna see how we can move and copy things. So if I want to move something, I want to move this, but as we said earlier, everything I want to move would be limited to X and Y because this is 2D. If I want to move something vertically, I have to select that I want to move it vertically here from the command line, or I can just type in V and spacebar. So now it's vertical, yes. Can select it and move it up. So I left this distance, so you can see, guys, the difference between when I'm doing the command. You can see all the different options we can get out of it. So I can either go here, select twin between curves, or I can just type in the command line twin, and I get the twin curves. So I select twin curves, I select this is the first curve and this is the second curve, and as you can see, it's gradually deforming from a circle all the way till we get to a rectangle. I can increase the number of the steps, let's say, to get from this shape to this shape. I can either select from here, come and select it, or press N spacebar. Let's say 10, also spacebar, so I can now get much more smoother transaction from this side to this side. So I can use this, let's say, as an outer. Let's say if I have a building and I want to make different balconies and terraces for each floor, I would do something like this, and I get different results for each floor in a skyscraper. Let's just draw a box from the top. Let's turn off the snap. So let's say, okay, snaps. Let's turn off the snaps. Let's say from here to here, and then go to the perspective, make it like this. Now let's select everything. If I want to deselect something, I just press Ctrl and I press on it and I'll deselect it. So now I have all of these. Let's say maybe a small extrude, and that's something like this. Now I got this different terraces or something going along all the building. So just a small example on how you can use this. Now we can move into drawing circles and the rest of the 2D commands. Let's say the most basic way to draw a circle, if I select it from here, I will start from the center, type in a diameter, and let's say 50, and I press enter, and I get the circle. But there's a few other options if I want to do this. Let's draw a few lines. This line, and this line. So I can get circle from 2 points or circle based on a diameter. So let's bring back the snaps, and from end I can just from 2 points I can get the circle I want. Another option would be a circle from 3 points. Then I can start from this point to this point to this point, and I get a circle between all 3 points. Another way would be where is it? Tangent, and a radius. So I would select the first tangent and the second tangent, and I type in a radius, let's also say 50, and I'll get this circle tangent to both these lines. Let's move into ellipses. The first way is to select depending on the center of the ellipse. So first thing I would select the center. I will select the first axis. Let's say I want it going along this side, and now I select the second axis and I get an ellipse. Another way to draw it is by diameter. So I will start from the axis and then I'll get into the center. So I draw both axes. I don't draw the center at the beginning. The center is determined based on the shape I draw. Moving to drawing arcs. So the first, if I could directly click on it, I'll get the arc center start and angle. So I'll select the start, select the center, sorry, and then the start, and then I draw the angle that I wanted to go in, and I get the arc. The second way is a start and end point. So I press start. This is the start of the arc. This is the end of the arc, and I then get the direction and the radius of the arc. A third way would be a start direction and start end. Let's try this. So I press the start direction and the end. So let's repeat that. So I press the start. I want the arc to be going in this way, and the center would be, I get this arc. So for all of these, like if I want to draw a circle, I can type in CI and I'll get the circle command directly, and from it I can get the 2-point or 3-point or tangent options directly. I don't have to go through here. So either press on it here, or let's say 2 points, 3 points, and as you can see there's a small underlined letter. So if I type in that letter, I will get that option. I don't have to come here and press on it. So the same as in this the circle, if I go to the arc, I will get all the options that we went through directly from the command line. Just have to select the correct one, or type in the layer, or type in the letter for the command, and through the command line I will get the command. Moving on to rectangles. I have a few ways to draw a rectangle: corner to corner, central to corner, and 3 points. So let's start with the corner to corner. So if I draw, I'm drawing the distance between these two corners as I'm dragging, and that's how I'm getting the shape. So another way to draw it, either if I go here and select it, or if I select it from the command line, is I from the start, from the center, and I draw to a corner. And the third way would be 3 points, which means I will draw the first side and then the first line, and then the width and length of a rectangle. In all three of them, if I go to it and I want to draw a rectangle, I will get the rounded option, which means I will get sort of a fillet on the corners of the rectangle that I am doing. Same as we mentioned for the circle, if I want anything from the first command, from here, if I select it directly from here, rectangle, I will get the 3-point option, the center and corner option, the rounded, and the only thing we haven't talked about is the vertical. We will talk about that soon. So moving into polygons. So if I directly click here, I will do center and radius. So I will start from this center and I type in the radius that I want, or I can just make the sides. I have extra sides and I draw. Something to look for when I'm drawing. Let's have a circle so we can see it more clearly, and with a snap to center circle. If I have a polygon, I have two ways of drawing. It's one of them would be inside circle, one of them would be outside circle. So let's try with the first one, inside circle. So it directly snaps to the center, but I'm controlling the corner, so the corner would be on the circle. If I press spacebar, repeat the command, and I change the mode to what I call an outer circle. So I control a midpoint of one of the lines of the polygon, and let's turn off the snap for a second. It would go, sorry, quads. Okay, quads are on. Where's a quad? So here's a quad, or no. So it would go, the midpoint would go on the outside of the circle. The corners are on the outside, not on the inside. You can see the difference. So these are the two ways to draw a polygon. Under polygon, so this is the first option we try to draw with a center and a radius. The other would be also a center and a radius, but as we said, this would be the other method. I will be controlling a midpoint. The third way to draw it is through an edge. If I start, I can determine the length of one edge, and based on it, it would scale up or down the polygon. I can draw squares or rectangles. The interesting thing would be also the stars. So when I select the star, I can go through the center and I select the number of sides of the star, let's say 5. I can even make it rounded and I give it a certain fillet. So I draw the start point, then the head of the star, and then go inside to draw. And something to see also, if we have polygon, rectangle, ellipsis, circle, or any of these, there is always a vertical option. So when I select the vertical option, now I'm drawing it vertical. So it's something vertical. And when I'm drawing something vertical, it's not just the. Sorry, I have to. Let's repeat it. Let's select vertical. Okay, so not only it's going vertical, I can select the angle on the Y plane, so I can move it around and I can get vertical shapes. So like this. So pretty much these are all the basic commands on 2D. We're gonna be the next videos we're gonna be going through the 3D options, surface and solid options, and modifiers. We're gonna be using these 2D commands. Maybe pick up a few other ways to do 2D lines and something like this, and how we can get 3D shapes. So please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to get all the new videos and training courses that we're going to be offering online. Thanks for watching.